Hi, this is Audrey Kirschner, and you're listening to and watching Inkyma's marketing strategy. Marketing is all about business growth, but there are so many factors other than marketing tactics that determine whether you succeed or fail in your marketing programs and in your business. So I'm really excited about today's guest, and she's going to talk to us about the mental side of business, which actually directly affects how well you succeed in marketing and in business. So I would love to introduce to you Dr. Torrie Kalm, and she is the owner of the Kalm Effect.
Good morning.
Good morning. I have been excited about this one all week. You can tell because I'm really messing up my words. So let's start out by tell us who you are and what your company does. Because I remember in a couple of our conversations, it was just, this whole topic just really fascinates me.
Yeah, it's obviously one of my favorites. So I'm Dr. Kalm with the Kalm Effect. We do behavioral coaching. Specifically, I work with people who have stress management issues, a lot of business owners who want to manage stress in an effective way, because there is some stress that is positive stress. We have an exciting stress, but then there's the stress that can also cause turmoil, to say the least, in our minds and in our ultimately in our businesses and how we run them. I also focus on communication and emotional intelligence. Part of my specialty is emotional intelligence, and that's what I focused on when I wrote my dissertation when I was working on my doctorate. So, I can do all the things,
which I think is so cool. And what's funny is when I thought about talking about this, I was like, well, it's technically not marketing, but when I really thought about it, it is. Because I can't tell you how many times I've been on with clients where all of a sudden I've turned into like their therapist a little bit because they don't have balance in work life. They're a little stressed out. There's other factors. And we wind up talking through all of that so I can get them back on task of focusing on the marketing, which is focusing on growing their business. So let's talk entrepreneurs. We, you, everybody that's listening, we are a unique breed, right? We are kind of blazing our own path down this trail. And it's a little lonely sometimes. I remember like sitting at my desk by myself going, God, am I doing the right thing? Is this good? And then my son comes in the room. I'm like, hi, honey. Like as employees, they're given direction. They're given that guidance. They got that nice little cocoon. And of course, they have their own set of issues too. But so let's talk a little bit about what do you think are some big things for like stress management for entrepreneurs?
One of the biggest things that I personally have had to learn was prioritizing, because I call myself a solopreneur, because I'm by myself. I'm doing this myself. I'm trying to figure it out just like everybody else. So prioritizing has become my best friend, because when you're first starting a business or you're deep into it and you're wanting to scale up, you're grasping at so many things at one time and you're like, okay, and then all these things, even though small as they are, on daily, and it can become a big thing. And so how do we manage that? And for me and several of the business owners that I worked with, we've talked about how do we manage all those little things that end up piling up that have to get done, but are causing stress in running our businesses. And so I've come up with a prioritization kind of checklist. So I have looked at what do I like prioritizing, what needs to be done, what takes the bulk amount of time that I have to get done. And so that goes on my weekly calendar. This has to get done during these times. And so setting up that schedule and that time for those high impact, high effort items. And then I move on to, okay, what is low effort, but going to have a high impact on what I get done? It's those 15-minute blocks of time that I'm like, oh, I'm eating lunch, or I'm, got a few minutes before my next call, or 15-minute blocks. And so that may be a low effort to make a phone call, but having a high impact on your day, and thus resulting in less stress, because you don't want to go to bed thinking I should have made that 15-minute call. So I'm big about prioritizing, and I work a lot with clients on how to do that, what that looks like. So that really alleviates a lot of stress when we're talking about doing our business and balancing our life with that, because we want to be on 24/7, and you may go to sleep thinking about eating your business, constant, everything.
Yeah.
But if you don't take that time to also stop and reflect and spend time with your family, then you're going to end up burning out fast. So prioritization, huge in running a business and having that balance with personal life.
Absolutely. And it's interesting you bring up burnout, because before I started my own business, I burned out in corporate. And so Like I made a couple promises to myself when I started my company. One, I was only going to take clients that every time I got on a call with them or I met them, I felt some joy, like, oh, I'm excited to see this person. And two, working longer and harder doesn't mean the work is better, right? I found that the downtime is what makes the quality of work that my team and I produce better. And a lot of entrepreneurs, it scares them. Like, what if I'm not working 24/7? And then you hear Elon Musk, I love him, but I wanted to slap him. Like, I work 80-hour weeks. I'm like, come on, dude, don't tell people that, a very successful company without working 80-hour weeks and having your family hate you. Not that I don't know if his family hates him. They probably love him. But my point is you can build a business without putting in 80, 90-hour work weeks. I don't even know if that's possible. I'd have to do the math on. But you're right, because it's the work. Not only does the work product suffer, but I think the work-life balance suffers. And then that guilt comes in. I remember feeling that a lot myself in the beginning year of not spending time with people because I felt like I had to get something done. So the tips and advice you gave are great, because I actually do those types of things too. So what do you got on the work-life balance?
So I usually, so I have to have a personal moment to reflect. I'm emotional intelligence. That's my thing, right? I love, so we can read and work what we need to with our clients, but you also have to have that me time. You also have to have that self-reflection time. If you don't have that, you're going to burn out and you're going to feel guilty and you're going to have all those feelings inside. And then in turn, that goes into your work. So is your work going to be as productive? Because 9 out of 10 people that have stress issues, their work productivity fails. So it decreases greatly. So we want to make sure that we take that time for ourselves. So I make sure, and I write it in a schedule. Sounds crazy, but if you write it down and it's on your schedule, chances are you're going to do it. You're most likely going to do it because you've scheduled that time. Everybody has 24 hours in a day. And you got to sleep for 8. So what do you do with 6?
And point of note, you do need to sleep 8 hours. That's part of that whole stress and not being stressed and having really good work product. Yeah, sleep is not overrated. Sleep is absolutely not. Okay.
I could sleep 10 hours. No, I couldn't. I lied. That's a lie.
Well, that's what I loved about meeting you, is because you hear all these people talk about, oh, I'm so busy and I've got so much work and I don't sleep, I don't eat, and I work all the time. And I'm like, I don't want to be that entrepreneur. And you know what? I'm not. But sometimes when you talk to others, you don't want to tell them that because they're going to look at you like you're weird. You're like, wait a minute, you can't be successful because you're not freaked out like I am.
You're not going all the time. Yeah. It's true. Another thing I do is I do one thing a day towards my business that I know I'm not going to want to do, but I need to do. So if I do one thing a day, except on the weekends, I refuse to work on weekends. I just can't do it. I need that time to reflect and be with my family, my husband. That's important. That is just as important as being successful in my business to me. I think they're equal in their value. But so just making that one thing a day that you didn't really want to do, but you need to do that, as much as you're like, I don't want to look at another marketing strategy. I don't want to write another blog. I just want to sit and eat my cake.
Exactly. So maybe you do that task while you're eating the cake. Sometimes it's like the reward needs to be mushed in with the one thing you don't want to do. You're like, couple sentences, couple mouthfuls, sentences, couple mouthfuls.
Which isn't uncommon in this house.
Oh, I'm the same way too. It's funny. Like I'll sit down and do something. I'm like, oh, okay, I need a cup of coffee. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, snack. You
gotta feel full, or you're just not going anywhere. But you really, if you don't have those moments, you're going to be no good to yourself. You're going to be no good to your family. You're going to be no good to your business. So I think it's highly important that we take care of our physical and emotional well-being as much as we take care of our business. So
I agree completely. So talk to me a little bit about, because I know there are going to be folks listening to this going, that's all well and fine, but I got myself in this hole, right? I don't sleep well. I'm not scheduling my eating in, which I love that you put in there right away. Right. In the beginning, you're like, you got to schedule time to eat. Like
you got to eat.
You don't want to be hangry. So kind of where would you start with someone like that? They're going to come to you and they're going to say, listen, I'm working too much. My spouse is mad at me. My company's not doing great. What do I do?
Right.
They're already not in a great place mentally when they first come to you. So how do you start with them?
I start with prioritizing. Let's look at what you do in a day. Oftentimes, not every time, but oftentimes, I see some of my business owners that are my clients that they do things they could have done. And They
Yeah.
want to do it all because they are perfectionists and they think, well, I'll just do it myself and then it'll be perfect and I know it's done. Okay, that's all well and fine, but it's one more thing on your list to do. It could have been delegated to somebody else. You could train somebody else to do this. That could be taken off your plate. Let's start with what you have to do and what others can do.
Yes.
So delegation is not a bad thing. But we are in this mindset, like as a solopreneur, I don't even have employees right now. So I can understand 100%. It's hard to give those tasks away, but you have employees that you can do that with. I strongly suggest looking at delegating some of these low effort items that could be done by somebody else. And then people start to see the layers come off and they're like, oh, okay, now I have this 15 minutes of free time. Okay, now I have 30 minutes of free time that I can put in what I need to do. Oh, now I have a whole weekend I can spend with my family. Crazy thought, right?
I'm back to work energized after something like that. That's incredible.
Yeah, so it's just peeling back the layers. It doesn't happen in a month and it doesn't, sometimes it takes a couple months for people to slowly let go of those things that they can let go of. And then we start working from there on what they feel and what their next set of needs are. But typically, business owners, we want to control everything. And
yeah, it's the curse of the entrepreneur. I'm the only one that can do this the right way. What I found over the years is like, you know what? I don't want to do that anymore. I don't have time for that. And then when it comes back, sometimes the product is better than what I do. I've got 9 million things going on and the person I delegated it to has a lot less and they have a different perspective. So I feel like it enriches the business by having other thoughts and how things are done are different. Sometimes I'll get something back and I'm like, that's really cool how they did that. So I think if you got good people, you can't be afraid to delegate. You're going to take a little time to train, like you said, but I think it's well worth it. I really do. It took me a long time to learn that lesson, but I've embraced it.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it. But
I can't remember how many years ago, 5 or 6 years ago, I did hire a coach for me and my business. And and you know what? It was like the best thing I ever did. So Eric, if you're listening, love you, miss you. He's awesome. He and I still talk and everything. And it got my business to another level, right? I didn't come in working with him at that bottom level. I had a certain amount of success and I was trying to break through my own ceiling to get to a next level. And I was finding it difficult. So do you ever work with clients like that were, they're not this heap of mess coming to you, but I need to get to that next level and I don't know how to do it.
Yeah, I've had actually a couple say, I was told I should check you out. I don't know what you can do for me. You just get them talking. A lot of people, they need to hear the fears of that movement forward, and they can't get past that fear, but it's more of a subconscious fear because they think I'm doing great at what I'm doing.
How can this be better? How can I be wrong?
People love me. I'm like, that's fantastic, but you're staying here. How do I get you here? Right. And so we look at different goals that they may have that they didn't think about before. Oh, I want to take this test to do this position now, or I want to learn more about a specific concept in their business. So as we keep learning about educating ourselves, guess what's going to happen? You're going to keep growing. And so it's getting people to that point to say, yes, I'm successful here, but what could I do to get even more here? So
absolutely,
that subconscious meeting the conscious, basically, they're kind of digging deep.
And you hit the nail right on the head is that, fast forward after the couple of years I was in coaching, that's exactly what my issue was. It was that fear of executing something that was completely different. But the reason it wasn't executed was I kind of came on to something new. And I sit there and look in the mirror and I'd be like, all right, is this a crazy pants idea? Or is this just something that I'm forward thinking? I don't know. And so, yeah, a lot of it was that internal fear, kind of getting past it. But man, things just rocketed right after that. It really did. I mean, like you said, it wasn't like, okay, I'm a month out and then boom. He and I were together for a couple of years and it was extremely, extremely beneficial. It's before I knew you. But yeah, so I would highly recommend coaching. What I always told people and what I would tell people was like, you need to talk to Dr. Torrie because she's going to help you get out of your own damn way.
Exactly. Right. Some people you have to tell that get out of your own.
Yes. And as entrepreneurs, we're like, oh my gosh, I'm my own worst enemy sometimes. And I don't have a boss telling me, stop doing that. Don't do this.
Exactly. Right. I was watching a TED talk the other day and I'm like, that really resonates because as a business owner, I failed so many times at things and that's okay. But I'm okay with that's okay. Some people aren't
Yeah.
okay with that. But what separates successful entrepreneurs from unsuccessful? And this TED Talk was amazing. It was about grit. Your grit. It's when you fail, you get back up and you're like, okay, dang it, I'm gonna do it. I just learned a way I'm not gonna do it.
Exactly. That's what failure is. It's like, okay, that's not the right way to do
Yeah.
that. And it's interesting you say that. I am totally comfortable with failure because in marketing, we trial and error and fail
Yeah.
all the time. We put it out there as, okay, we're going to test things, but testing different things, it's a methodology. It's like, if this one doesn't work, we got to go with that one. And then when we see something not working, we're like, okay, let's tweak it this way. But when it works, we're like, awesome. Like, it's a milestone moment, but they happen all week long for us in this industry. So I kind of look at everything that way. And you're right, it's that grit, it's that determination. And I will be the first person to tell you, when I get frustrated, I throw my toys down on the ground and stomp away just like everybody else.
That's normal.
But I come back. I'm like, okay, I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to keep going.
You know what that is though? That's you self-reflecting on, okay, that really pissed me off. I'm going to walk away for a second. And then I'm taking a breath, reflecting on all that went really bad and reset, refocus. Got it. All right.
Well, what's interesting is during the downtime or when you're stomping away, your brain's still working on it in the background. That's what I find with me. And then I come back and I think I have an epiphany. My brain's like, no, that was me.
That was me working.
You're giving me a moment, which I needed. Now we're going to go and get this right. And I find it really, especially in a highly creative space like I'm in, where we're trying to think of different concepts and different ways to do things, which a lot of businesses are, that's really valuable.
Yeah, that reflection it is.
Absolutely. So I felt like we got down a rabbit hole there and I'm going to come back. So let's talk a little bit about work-life balance, because I think there's a misconception out there that as an entrepreneur, you're not allowed.
Right.
But ironically, too, a lot of people are like, well, I started my own business so I can have flexibility and freedom. So it's like they've got these two warring concepts in their head at the exact same time. Do you have people that come to you with that thought process?
I actually just had a recent,
Oh my God, all the time.
How do I do this? I've got to get this done, but I need to, and my spouse is like on me. And I bring it right back to prioritizing. Because really it is about what needs to get done. A business, you're running a business. You have things you have to do. You have to. It's a business. If you want to make money, the reality is you're going to have to put in hours in the day. It's just reality.
Absolutely.
But it's that balance of, okay, it's dinner time, and just putting down your stuff for 30 minutes for dinner with your spouse or your children and saying, hey, let's have a being present in the moment conversation and not on our phones while we're, it's about being present in that moment with your family, even if it's 30 minutes, an hour, whatever you have. That's the valuable part of balancing. It's because a business is what it is. You have to build your business if you want to be successful in it. And so there's even clients that I have that can get their families involved in their business. And that's very positive as well. If you have an opportunity to bring your family in, bring them in, give them little tasks. You're spending time together. You're working on the family future. It's about finding creative ways to include family or be present with your family while maintaining that business piece, and scheduling and prioritizing. Invaluable. You have to prioritize, because if you prioritize nothing but work, you're going to do nothing but work.
That's so true. That's so true. So my biggest hang up used to be like, okay, I would say, I want to do this, but then I would feel guilty about it. Like, I want to not work on my business. I want to go over here and do it. For me, it was the downtime. It's like, I just want to sit and like do nothing. I want to be a couch potato, but then I would feel guilty. Do your clients have that conversation with you? Because sometimes that's the motivator to not take the downtime, is the guilt associated to it.
Yeah. And I tell them it's about your mindset. If you tell yourself it's okay, and it really is, mindset is convincing yourself that this is good, right? So mindset, put yourself in that mindset that this is okay to sit for a minute. We need that. Your brain needs that. Your body needs that. I mean, have you ever sat at a desk and just been like, I can't think. I'm having basically a brain blank. I just don't know what to do next. And you sit there for hours. You could have taken that hour away from your desk, spend some time with your family, reset and refocus your mind, and then come back and be like, got it.
Exactly. Oh yeah. I've hit that maximum overload. I hit it every day, which is ironic.
You need brain breaks.
Yeah, that is the one thing that I haven't done, is like, I when I start my day, I get up, I take my little breaks, I eat, so that maximum overload doesn't come. But I get to a certain point in the day where all of a sudden I hit that maximum saturation. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. And then I get up and I leave the desk for the day. But there have been times where I've done that and then I've come back in a couple of hours just to finish cleaning some stuff up that needed to get done that day. But yeah, that's my bad habit.
We all have them. It's normal to have one.
Good, I'm glad.
Working from home, it's really hard. And it's something I've had to balance out too, where I could sit in here all night long and work on things and research stuff and watch videos and learn new things, constantly professionally developing myself, right? I could constantly be doing that. But then I get to a point where I'm watching videos and like, I don't even know what that said.
Right. Exactly. What does that mean? What does that mean? Yeah.
You're looking up words in a dictionary that you should have known, but you're like, your brain is fried. And so
let me ask you that question, because what's interesting is I've been working from home ever since I started my business, right? I've had a home office, but you've got a lot of new entrepreneurs out there that are trying to transition from an office to working from home. Do they talk to you about that? Like, because that's a real struggle for people.
Yeah, with younger children, especially, it's really hard. And for single parenting, it's a balancing act. If you're a single parent, it really is a balancing act. And there's, it's, if you don't have daycare, because some single parents can't afford daycare. So what do you do? And it's about, that's where I would suggest, because I'm an empty nester, my kids are all out of the house.
I'm a new empty nester.
So it really is about how can you get your child on a schedule, but keep, your clients have to be understanding. It really comes down to just compassion.
Yeah, I agree. And you got to have if you pick the right clients, they're definitely going to give you that grace.
Yeah, I understand. You have babies, you're single parenting, you're just trying to do the best for you. Yeah. And that authenticity will show through 100%.
Agreed.
They really want what's best for me, but they're juggling and they're trying to make their way in life.
Absolutely. I've had a couple of clients where we've been on a call or even just meetings, and then the doggy pops up and I'm like, oh, let me see the doggy, or let me see the baby, I don't want them to feel like that's inappropriate, because in reality it's not. You're no less smart,
right,
to be on your lap than you are with them off your lap, right? Your brain is still there. You are still you, your knowledge level is still there. And what I find is that little moment where we take together and then the baby goes off, the kid goes off, we refocus, it's just magical. It's like, okay, yeah, I was able to do that. Now I can get back to this. Kind of like what you were saying, just give yourself a little room.
Yeah. And then I try to not put in, like, for me personally, in my home office, I try to keep my outside life from in here, so it keeps it separate, so that when I come in this room, I know this is work time and my brain is trained that way. So this is work time, this is business. And then when I walk out, I know, okay, I can breathe out here. And so it's that delineation between work, life.
Absolutely. And that's what I've done for years as well. My office is just my office. This is not a multitasking space. And then at night, the light goes off and I go into the rest of the space. And ironically, my workout time is that the equivalent of the commute home, where you just your brain switches from one to the other. Because I'll start my workout like thinking about work, and I'll end it and it's all gone. And then I'm ready to do the rest of it. Yeah. So that's
the power of exercise.
That is what I couldn't live without with all of this. Absolutely. So our time is wrapping up here. It always goes by so fast. And I know, I feel like there's like 9 million things else we could talk about. So we might have to do this again for the podcast, and especially if we get people asking questions and that kind of stuff. So before we wrap this up, do you have any final thoughts or things that you want to share with folks?
Yeah, just be the best you can be. Don't be too hard on yourself. Remember that fear is failure. So don't be fearful to fail. That's my mantra. And live, love, laugh.
Awesome. I love that, because I think if we all do this, that when they get to me with the marketing and we do these things, they're going to be so much more successful, right? Because that's my ultimate goal, is to have successful clients. So I really appreciate you being on the show today. Thanks so much. And go to the show notes, because Dr. Website is going to be in the show notes. Do you want me to put your email address in there too, if people want to reach out and ask questions? I wanted to make sure first too. Okay, so website address, email address are going to be in the show notes, and all of the show notes are, like always, on the website Inkyma.com. That's INKYMA.com. And then if you have questions about marketing, like I end all of our shows, is we like to give back. So for every business owner out there, schedule a 45-minute consultation and we can talk about whatever you want. We can talk about your website, what you are doing for marketing, what you're not doing for marketing. If you have fears and doubts about marketing, that's where I can come in and help you with that. So go to the website. In the upper right-hand corner, there's a button that says schedule a consultation, put your date and time in, and we are on the calendar. So hopefully you enjoyed this episode as much as I did. I know I learned a lot. I've got some reconfirmation of things as an entrepreneur. If you did find it helpful, please share it with your other business owners that you know, because we as a business community need to stick together and help each other out. And that's what this podcast is all about. So thank you for listening and watching, and I hope you have an amazing day.